good afternoon again, folks. Excuse me while I tip it up so you don't have to stare at my Friday the 13th jammy pants. Converted into exercise pants because, yeah. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And yes, folks, we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do, the usual disclaimers. Remember, no rants today, at least not during the first part. We're just going to shoot straight through it, all right? In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they've threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article, share it on all your social media. Also linked in there, NeuroClastic's public statement in regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC sees through with their threat. Also included in there, you're going to see the Ozark's first article in regards to the Agape boarding school situation, a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens that has and pending, folks, over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it. Which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. One moment, I'm sorry, I got a cough. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor still on the premises with full access to the boys up on multiple substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You have an attorney general too busy photoshopping and then lying about drag queens while chasing after them like a dude with a weird, creepy special interest, and trying and failing to defund public libraries to, actually think about doing his job. And you got a current governor. I don't know what to tell you about our governor, but send help. All right? Read that article. Share it on all your social media. We have the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including the link to the article we are getting ready to read. Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. Trigger warning! This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and we speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they're watching this, very obviously, parental supervision is advised. All right. So now this is an article that was first published by NeuroClastic. Speaking of articles the JRC really doesn't like. It's called How the Golden Rule Harms Autistic People. Why is this important when we're talking about Andre's Law? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because, as I've mentioned several times, although JRC is the most extreme case, they are by no means alone in their type of thinking, nor in the type of medicine that they use. I find it always useful to bring this to you from places like NeuroClastic. We're also going to be looking at an article done on Wrong Planet, which is basically the autistic version of Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook rolled into one. It is the place of my people. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and read this article, all right? The Golden Rule, how the Golden Rule harms autistic people. Miscommunication and misinterpretation of autistic people happens very early in life. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Or modern language, treat other people as you would like to be treated. Everybody knows about the Golden Rule. Most people learn about it from a young age, either in school or church or from their parents. But this rule is part of the reason why unintentional harm of autistic people starts so early in life and is so pervasive in our society. When I'm having a shutdown, I'd prefer a non-autistic to not look me directly in the eyes, not ask me what is wrong, not expect me to answer them, not tell me they know how I'm feeling. Oh God, please don't get me started. Not hug me. Hugging me makes it worse, much worse. Any type of, if we're in shutdown or we're in meltdown especially, for the sake of your own safety, okay? I'm not saying we're unnaturally aggressive. You know where I was going with that. We don't hug someone freaking out in the bar. We don't hug the autistic person getting ready to go through something, all right? Use the same rules you apply in neurotypical society to us. But let's go here. However, we've taught neurotypicals incorrectly. We've been telling them their entire lives to treat other people as they would like to be treated. Question: what if other people don't like to be treated this way? Do you know what neurotypical people often think would help when someone is having a shutdown? All of the above. Because it would help them when they are upset. But just because it would help them, it doesn't mean it would help me. Say it louder for the people in the back. Do you know how many interactions cause autistic people harm and could easily be mitigated if non-autistics stopped assuming other people were exactly like them? If instead of projecting our own needs and emotions onto others, we actually learned about each other's differences, listened to other people, and respected their own different needs and ways of being. If we treated people how they would like to be treated, rather than how our own selves would like to be treated, this world will make a large difference in so many neurodivergent lives. One of the big things in the medical model is this idea that somewhere beneath all this boogeyman autism, there's a normal person just fighting to get out. The reality is there is a very autistic person screaming in rage behind the neurotypical mask that I put on that is just busting to get out and wreck shit. Maybe not the proper choice of words, but you see what I mean. My so-called normal mannerisms are a mask. Sometimes they come out without me willing them to, because I have been taught to mask for so long that every once in a while you get this weird thing where you can't tell the difference between what is the mask, what is the doll, and what is Tiffany. But that's its own thing. That's its own thing. I'm probably reading too deep. What else is new? The assumption that everyone in the world has brains that work the exact same way actively harms minority neurotypes and disabled people in general. This is why we need the idea of neurodiversity, so that people understand that not everyone has a brain that works the same way as their own. And that doesn't make anyone wrong or bad or weird. It's just different ways of processing stimuli. All of those different ways of being should be respected and heard, not just one. How does this relate to the medical model? The medical model is based, particularly when you're autistic from day one, is to try to help your kid become more normal. because they're basing it off of what they would want if they were us. That's where that golden rule kicks in. They're coming in thinking, well, if I were in their situation, I would want someone to help me become more normal. Not realizing, at least some of them, I'll try to give you all some benefit of the doubt here. That maybe what I want to be is not more normal. What I want to be is more myself in a way that still allows me to be able to function. That makes sense. By trying to help me become more normal, all you're helping me do is create a mask, and I've already gone over the ramifications of that. But let's move on. Unintentional harm, the fallacy of we're all the same. We autistic people have spent years, sometimes decades, hiding our sensory pain and overwhelm. When I told people that the TV was too loud as a kid, or that someone was talking too loudly, they didn't experience it that way, so they ignored my requests. They said not to worry about it. I didn't have the vocabulary to tell them that the sound was physically hurting my ears. You see, I and other autistic people thought that everyone had our same experiences, that everyone had pain with noise, so we hid it. I tried not to flinch when the school bell went off. I tried not to grimace when I walked next to a lawnmower. God, guys, I can't even tell you. Whenever that lawnmower's going off, especially when I'm doing those videos, and I'm not tweaking out, it hurts. It physically hurts, folks. Like, I can feel that to the base of my neck and skull. It hurts. Me not freaking out is just simply trained behavior. But it hurts like, oh, God. I thought everyone else just figured out how to easily hide their sensory pain, and that I was required to do the same. And this hiding of my pain for over a decade was partially because of the golden rule, that somehow we're all the same, that we must all have the same sensory experiences. That really harmed me. I want to tell my childhood self that we don't have the same experiences, that what they were brave for putting up with as much as they did, they didn't have to do that. That they should have been able to be allowed to wear headphones, to be accommodated, to be themselves, to feel okay. Treat others people as you should be treated. The golden rule is a backwards way to treat other people, and it harms us. It harmed me. I don't want another autistic child or adult to be harmed because of this ridiculous rule on how to treat others. Treat others with compassion. Do not treat them as an extension of yourself. Neurotypical comfort is an autistic person's kryptonite. In an anecdotal Facebook experiment by Tara Vance, both neurotypical people and autistic people viewed the image below and provided their own interpretation of the situation. Unsurprisingly, most neurotypical people commented on this picture, assuming the blonde woman in the center who seems upset is being supported and comforted by the other people sitting around her because she needs emotional support. Here's what some non-autistic people had to say. This is an intervention. She's struggling with an addiction, and others are trying to let her know that she's supported. A young lady is having a hard time. The people around her are supporting her, helping her through it. A teen girl is struggling. Her parents are on one side and her peers are on the other side showing her support. The lady in the middle is having a hard time making a decision or is upset about the results of an outcome or something. The others are trying to comforting, helping, guiding her. However, most autistic people had a different read on the situation. Here's what Beth said. On first glance, I thought sensory overload of the woman in the center because multiple individuals are all talking at once. She seems to be overwhelmed and possibly on the verge of a meltdown or a shutdown with no place to go. How to not comfort me when I'm upset. A group of people looking at me about close enough to sit in my lap. Thank you! No, seriously. Seriously. There are times I need a hug when upset. It's true. It's true. There are other moments when you need to take a nice 6 feet back. Yeah. She's overwhelmed. She needs everyone to just leave and give her space, probably for the rest of the day at the very least. The crowd is trying to help her and make things better for her, but the reverse is actually what they are inadvertently doing. Honestly, this is triggering to me. It seems like someone has invited all these people over to watch this person freak out. The person on the people on the right disturb me, especially that asshole with the clipboard and their hand up. That hand is saying way too much. What neurotypical people may think as comforting, autistic people may experience it as intrusive and painful. The new golden rule: treat other people as they would like to be treated. Listen to other people's experiences without projecting your own. Respect their needs even when they are different from your own. You do not have to understand someone to respect them or help them. You merely have to listen to how they want to be treated. This seems simple, not going into the medical model or JRC. But these mind-staking, basically these mistakes is where it starts. Most people don't start at, I came here to torture autistic people and give them mental health issues for the rest of their life. I don't honestly believe, except for a few sadistic assholes, that that's the mentality of the people who go into this work in this type of field. I do think they come in out of a genuine response to want to help people. But by the way, society has taught us that they must want help to be normal, because that's what I would want. And then pushing that on us. And any resistance that you met with suddenly means, oh, we're close to a breakthrough. We got to keep going. It's a spiral, folks. It's a downward spiral. We're going to go, and where does that spiral lead to? Let's dig into this here. It leads into ABA. ABA is essentially an intervention that works towards trying to make us neurotypical. Essentially, at its base, that's what it is. That's why every time we do something that is not considered normal neurotypical behavior, it gets listed as a behavior and follows us like a ghost to every single doctor visit for the rest of our lives. You see where this is going, right? Everything goes from, I must help this person be normal. So that goes from off of the focus of me as a human being and as a list of traits and behaviors. It's an unintentional dehumanization, if you will. You see where this is going, right? The golden rule sounds nice. But for lack of a better way to put it, I'm going to go slightly biblical on you, because let's face it, I love studying religion. God, how did he put it? Show compassion, folks. Don't assume everyone is like you. Don't assume everyone has the same goals as you. It's very simple. Just like you should treat every case, for example, like AHJD, the Manson cases out, you need to treat those individually instead of the cookie cutter, all been bad. It's kind of the same thing. Let's close on that. Oh, yes, that's the quote. Remember in the Bible, because yes, I study Bible as well as the Bhagavad Gita. Don't get me started, I'm a nerd. Love your neighbor as yourself. Why do I think that's better wording? Because it mentions nothing about treating. If you love your neighbor as yourself, that means you will be willing to listen to your neighbor as to far as how they need to be treated, as you would wish for someone to listen to you when you talk about how you wish to be treated when you need help. Now we're going to close out. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.